Last time on Slayers the Ruby Eye.
I'm afraid I have seen this group before. They are the minions of the goddess.
Wait, you know him?
He plans on reviving the Dark Lord Shabernigdo. I am only certain that he is our mutual enemy.
You mean you're Rezo the Red Priest?
This guy seems fishy to me.
Now resuming Slayers the Ruby Eye, Chapter 2, Part 5. So, Gary, you're telling me you really don't know anything about Ruby-Eyed Shabnigdo? You know, the Dark Lord? I asked him as we walked down a well-lit forest path. This bit of the forest looked exactly the same as the one we had hiked down a few days before. And seeing the same types of trees over and over and over again was getting on my nerves. Oak, ash, blackthorn, ash, oak. Ugh. What I'd do to see some willow or elm right now. It was so monotonous. And since the road to Atlas City cut through the great Cretuous forest, we would be seeing a lot more trees before we arrived in the town. Oh, joy of joys! Oh look, another oak tree.
No, the name doesn't ring a bell.
How do you not know this stuff? Most people learn this on their grandma's knee. The legend of Shabnigdo was damn right famous. And not only amongst sorcerers either. Everyone knows the story. Well, everyone except Gowry, apparently. Come on, next thing you're going to be telling me is that you don't know how to tie your own shoelaces. Or that you don't know the colour of the sky or something.
But the sky changes colour.
That is not my point. I took a deep breath. Okay. I'm only going to tell you the story once. So, listen carefully.
Cool. You have my full attention.
I sighed. I doubted that Gary was even capable of understanding the philosophical weight of what I was about to tell him. He walked alongside me, smiling innocently. I went on with the story anyway. I figured that as long as we were stuck walking together through this monotonous forest, I might as well make the effort to entertain both of us. The birds tweeted sweetly in the air. Okay, where to start? The universe is comprised of more than just the one we live in. A very, very long time ago, a countless number of staves were thrust into the sea of chaos, and around each stave, a world was formed, both flat and round.
Lena, don't stories usually start once upon a time?
I shot him a dirty look. No, Gary. Not all of them do, and this one doesn't. So, as I was saying, a sea of darkness. Darker than the blackest pitch. A sea comprised of chaos in its truest form, reaching to infinity. Into this chaos were thrust countless staves, and atop each stave, countless worlds were formed. In ancient times, across many of these worlds, a great war was waged between two great races. One was the gods, the others, the demon race Mazuku. The gods tried to protect the worlds, whilst the demons sought their destruction. On some worlds, the gods would win, bringing peace. On others, the demons would win, and the worlds would be plunged into darkness. This war still rages on. Right, so on this world, our world, the Dark Lord, Ruby-Eyed Shabernigdo.
The big bad guy.
Yeah, and the god, Flare Dragon Seafeed, who you might know as the Dragon God.
Nope.
Well, anyway. They fought for domination. The battle continued for thousands of years until finally the Dragon God was able to split the Demon Lord's body into 7 pieces, and seal each piece separately across the world.
So the good guys won.
Not really. All the Dragon God did was seal away the remains of the Dark Lord. He didn't destroy them.
But he was cut into pieces, right?
That is not enough to kill a Dark Lord. Anyway, once the remains of the Dark Lord were sealed, the Dragon God sank into the Sea of Chaos, his powers exhausted.
So the dragon's taking a nap.
No, he's not fucking taking a nap. Fearing the eventual revival of the Dark Lord, the Dragon God used his last of his powers to divide himself into 4 different Dragon Lords, each occupying their own respective element, so earth, air, fire and water. These various Dragon Lords protect the 4 cardinal points, east, west, north and south. It's said that that division took place 5,000 years ago. I glanced over at Gary as we walked. His brow was furrowed and his lips were moving. He seemed to be drawing an invisible compass in the air with his finger. At least he was trying to follow along. Anyway, about 1,000 years ago, the Dragon God's fears were realised.
Realised how?
One of the 7 pieces of the Dark Lord Shabnigdo was restored by a human, whose mind and body had been taken over in the efforts from the Dark Lord himself.
A human?
Then the Dark Lord tried to invade the north. Fighting through all the Water Dragon King's well-prepared traps, he prevailed, and managed to destroy the Water Dragon King in the process. However, his own body became bound to the earth as a result. He was no longer able to move.
That didn't get anyone anywhere, did it?
Interjected Gowry. Yes, but it happened because they were practically equals in power, I explained. Anyway, that effort destroyed the balance that kept peace in the world, which is what, in turn, made all the dark creatures appear.
Really? No kidding. That's where everything came from?
He seemed pretty impressed, almost as if he had never considered the origin of his own existence. Well, I clarified, it might just be a myth, or it might be true.
So this Zell What's-It guy, the guy in white, wants to put the pieces of the Dark Lord back together again, like a puzzle, and that'll revive him?
Only according to Mr. so-called Rezo the Red Priest.
Now that you mention it, you were acting pretty friendly to that guy, to his face, but I didn't get the impression that you actually liked him.
Maybe Gary isn't as dumb as he looks after all. I mean, that's a matter of perspective, I suppose. I stretched. I mean, how do we know that guy is even the real Rezo?
What do you mean?
Rezo is a living legend, but no one's reported seeing him in person for at least a decade.
So you think one of the bad guys might be calling himself Rezo just so that he can get close to us?
I mean, maybe, yeah.
I don't like how your mind works. How do you know that I am who I say I am, Lena? And you trust me?
Do I? I don't think I've ever said that I trust you.
Lena, stop. You're being mean.
He sounded more upset than I thought he would. Fine. You don't look like a guy with ulterior motive. Are you happy now?
Thank you, little girl.
He said and extended a hand, patting me on the head as if I was a puppy. Urgh, for fuck's sake, I will tie you to a tree and leave you for the wolves to eat. Stop calling me little girl.
I mean, you say that, but how old are you?
Old enough to kick your ass.
Which is...
26. Gary's face suddenly turned bright red. I'm kidding, I'm actually 15.
Don't scare me like that. You're 15, so you are a kid, see?
I am not. Okay, I'm not an adult, but I'm not a kid either.
Ah, I see. A tough age to be. I get it.
What the fuck does that even mean?
You've got all these hormones causing all these confusing new
I'm not
emotions.
confused about anything. Shut up. Stop talking. We're not going to have this conversation. Okay? I took a deep breath and tried to return my voice to a normal tone. I'm not gonna be able to use my magic for...
What? What did you say?
I'm not gonna be able to use my magic for a few days, so you're gonna have to do my...
Lena, I can't hear you if you're mumbling.
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to use my magic for a few days, so you're going to be the one doing most of the fighting, okay? Are you fucking happy you have to make me say that out loud?
You can't use magic?
He was caught off guard for sure, but he wasn't as shocked as I'd expect him to be. He nodded slowly.
Oh, I see.
Gary said, looking deep in thought.
Your behaviour makes a lot more sense now.
Don't you fucking do this to me, man.
So it's that time of the month.
I felt a blush sear its way onto my face.
Do you have everything you need?
Gary?
Well, do you?
What do you know about what I even need? Okay, let's just step away from this for a second. I can still feel the cringe. Though it may be hard to imagine, women with powers have an even worse time during their period than those who don't. From 2 to 7 days during that time, the power of a sorceress, priestess, or shrine maiden weakens to the point where they are unable to use magic. This is also embarrassing. There's even an old wives' tale that claims that sorceresses who lose their virginity during their period will become an ordinary, non-magical woman. I mean, it's a myth. My real problem was much simpler, though. My magic powers would remain low for the next few days. Therefore, if we're attacked, which most certainly would be, let's not think about that. My real problem is how to get over the fact that Gary, who seems to have the strength of a troll and the intelligence of a jellyfish, somehow figured out that I can't use magic means that it's my time of the month.
Lena, it's perfectly natural and it's not a big deal.
He said. Of course it wasn't a big deal to him. It was a huge, embarrassing big deal to me. And that, dear listener, is where we'll leave it off for today. I know we're like halfway through a scene, but I'm embarrassed and my throat hurts, and I remember being 15, and it was awful. I'll see you next time. Bye.